This is my video reflection presentation. My first weakness for selling the cars was I didn't lead up to the close. I closed the sale without looking for or creating any commitment signals. Commitment signals are favorable statements a buyer makes during a sales presentation that signal buyer commitment. I didn't look for or establish any commitment signals before I tried to close the sale. Instead, I just answered 2 questions that he had and then simply asked, "Would you like to buy all 12 cars today?" which is a direct commitment technique, which was overall risky because the buyer could have had more concerns or questions. My second weakness when it came to selling the cars was I didn't ask if they wanted to take the time to listen to my pitch. I just went right into my sales presentation right after the projection phase, which means I forgot to do the T in adapt, which is the transition phase. A transition phase is used to smooth the transition from needs discovered into the presentation of the proposed solution. By not performing the transition phase, I was being rude and not even seeing if he was interested in my cars, so I could have just been wasting both of our time. My first strength when it came to selling the cars was I used the P and I and spin very well. I asked if he had any current problems with his car and if it affects his productivity, which is the P and I and spin. P is a problem question, and I is an implication question. Spin is a sequence of 4 types of questions to understand a buyer's problems and then lead to a proposed solution. Problem questions are more general situation questions to further probe for areas of dissatisfaction and developing problems, while implication questions are questions that flow from the information gathered from the problem questions. They help buyers think of the consequences of the problems discovered. I first identified a problem the buyer had by asking if they had any features in the car that might benefit the employees, like a GPS system. By him saying no, it helped me identify a problem, which led me to the implication questions, which is when I asked how this affects productivity, which dove deeper into the sales problem and how it affects productivity, which gave me an idea of what problems he needed solved. My second strength when it came to selling the cars was I answered a price objection question very well by explaining the benefits they receive for paying a higher price, which is the compensation technique. A compensation technique is when a salesperson counterbalances the objections with an offsetting benefit. By paying a higher price, you are receiving a great radio plan that includes an iPod USB, a GPS, and much more, which will definitely boost employee satisfaction when driving and increase productivity. By saying this, I used the compensation technique to satisfy the customer's question, which allowed me to solve his price objection and allowed me to get closer to closing the sale. Thank you for watching my video reflection.